All right. We got California in the house. So excited to be here. All right. Well, this is day one of the Love on Top remix. If you are not familiar with me, I'm going to give you a little bit of my background in a moment, but I just want to say one of my favorite parts when I do any type of challenge that I feel like God has downloaded in me, there's always some form of opposition, some form of resistance from the devil. And so I was looking for it. Charlotte, who's on, Charlotte will be on our Facebook group, and Sarita will be in our IG chat. Yes, I'm streaming on IG. I figured let's reach as many women as we can and let it be as shareable as possible. But the perks of signing up is that you're going to get the workbook with each daily challenge. You're going to get the reminders, the replays, all of that. But nonetheless, I was working with Charlotte over the weekend, and I don't know like what her thoughts were because it was a little last minute on her end, but like from me to her. But on my end, I'm like, okay, I'm super prepared. I've had this content like marinating and downloading for like over a month, and it's going really smooth. And I don't like when stuff goes too smooth because I'm like, okay, where's the devil trying to throw it off? And sure enough, my babysitter texted me last night and is like, I have to be out. I was exposed to COVID, so I have to quarantine. So I'm like, oh my God, the week that I need to have my kids squared away, and like my husband's back to work, my oldest daughter is back to school, so I don't have their help. So I'm excited about that. The reason why I share that with you is because I want you to be mindful. This is something I teach every woman I ever work with when I first start working with her, is be aware of opposition. Opposition is a sign you're on the right path. And where discernment and alignment comes in is where you get to start to learn the difference between hitting a wall because it's not meant for you and hitting resistance because the devil wants to stop you from what your breakthrough is. And so I always like to start out anything I do. We're going to spend the whole week together. I have prepared powerful, powerful content that has transformed my marriage in the more recent years. So I've been doing this work for, I've been doing self-development work for 8 years. But the last 3 years, I've been really focusing on really recovering my relationship. And so because of all of the knowledge and tools and wisdom I've received in those years, I have infuse that into my programming. And that's why now I focus more kind of specifically to relationships, because I found that women I was working with doing the work that I teach were having relationship results. And so I share that to say that why I'm really excited about this challenge is that I hit another roadblock. I believe life is a roller coaster. There's ups, there's down, there's high, there's lows. And I was in a low. And I'm still coming out of that low. Like I'm kind of swooping up like this, like I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But where I was as I was declining and when I was in those trenches is where I'm serving from in this challenge. It's where I'm revamping the things that I didn't see. We all have blind spots. And so no matter who you are on this live right now, whether you're watching it live or someone sent this to you as a replay, no matter who you are, whether you have a relationship or you're in one, I don't care how amazing or good it is or how bad it is right now, there's a next cut for you. There's a breakthrough. There's a blind spot. There's something in you that you can't see. There's something in your partner that he can't see. There's something in each other that you guys can't see. And so I really want to invite you to be very open-minded this week and to show up. Give yourself the gift of showing up every day. I can't stress enough how much our attention spans are pretty much crap these days, and we commit to things but we don't finish. If anyone can relate, throw the hearts, like drop a that's me. If you start things, you sign up for the free challenges, you buy the course, you start the Bible study, you start the devotional, and then 3 days in, 5 days in, 2 hours in, you're already off and distracted, right? And that's the devil. The devil will come to distract us, disappoint us, and discourage us to really just destroy our lives. And so I'm harping that as we begin. It's very, very important. If there's any housekeeping I can give you, it's to stay connected and committed to this challenge. Don't check out. Don't allow your brain to say, oh, that I already know that already. Like today, my brain was like, I hope they don't check out after day one, because what I'm going to teach seems so 101 and elementary, but I'm going to teach it in a new way. And so it's like, don't take for granted, like don't think you know is what I'm saying. Just come with an open heart. That's why when you logged in, I said, where are you coming from and what are you expecting from this week? Because if you show up in life and you expect life to just be handed to you, you'll never receive. God says to ask and you shall receive. So I want you guys to get specific this week. I want you to come tomorrow. Think of it today. And if you want to put it in the chat, please do so. The more you verbally profess what you're calling in, the more it will come to you. But each day as you show up, I want you to come with an expectant heart. I want you to come ready and wanting and expecting to receive a breakthrough, a word, something that you don't already know, hearing something that you may have heard 100 times. I'll never forget one of my clients that I worked with, who's such a powerful woman. She was like, I didn't know what I needed when I did your Love on Top challenge, the last one that I did last year. She's like, I had no idea that I needed that. And she was like, what was so crazy is everything you were saying, I had already heard it so many times, but for some reason, hearing it mixed with your experiences, mixed with how you taught it, it just clicked in my brain. And that's what I believe the power of being in community and learning from other women is you never know what you're going to need to hear. So be open-minded. This challenge is for any woman who wants to have a breakthrough in her relationship. And so that's a major question that I get from people who check out. If you're falling into this live and you're like, oh, well, I thought it was just for athletes' wives. I teach it for athletes' wives. I come from that perspective. So for example, if you're getting the emails with the challenge, I might say something like, if your man is at camp, here's what you can do, or do it when he gets back, or FaceTime him, or whatever. And so I cater to the athlete wife, but trust me when I say you as a woman with a partner who desires to be in a relationship can benefit from this challenge. The one thing I would say this challenge, the one person I would say this challenge is not for, is for the woman who thinks she knows it all. I said the one thing, but the couple of things, thinks she knows it all, and the woman who isn't open to seeing her next cut. You have to be willing and ready to implement some change. So I'm going to tell you, we're going to have fun. We are going to go deep, and you're going to have to actually do things that make you uncomfortable to see results. So you can't just show up, get the information, and then be like, okay, that was great. I'm inspired. That's like what we do. We go to church, we listen to sermons, we listen to podcasts, we read books, and we're fired up for 20 minutes, 2 days, and then we go back to our old self. You have to put in the work. I really encourage you to do each daily challenge. Don't take it lightly. Don't say, okay, I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to save this in my email and go back to it. Do it right now. I'm going to be doing it with you. So one of the other perks of registering and getting into our Facebook group is the community that takes place during this week is so incredible, because we're all sharing like, oh my gosh, I did the thing with my man and this is what he said, or it was so funny, or oh my gosh, try this, ladies, it was amazing. So the power of learning from other women is unmatched. And so when you're in the group, just the magic of what happens in the chat is really, really cool. So as you're doing each daily challenge, I really want to invite you to post about it in the group, share about it, be vulnerable. It is a private Facebook group. Share it. If I repost anything, I always scratch out your name. I'm not sharing like people's business anywhere. So please, please, please have fun with it. But like I said, the more you show up, the more you participate, the more you're going to get out of it. And lastly, who I believe it's for is for the woman who wants to believe in healthy, thriving relationships. We are in a time where it's very easy to be like, I'm good being single, or I don't even know if this exists, or just settling like this is just how it's going to be. This is for the hopeful woman, the woman who's like, I know there's more. I know there's better. I know there's something on the other side of this storm that I might be currently in. So we're almost done with like the kind of setting of the tone, and we're going to just jump in. I do have notes. So if you see me looking around, I want to speak slower today. I want to keep it short and concise. And so I wrote out my notes and I really want to follow them because I tend to go all over the place. And I'll give you the whole 5-day challenge today because I get geeked up and I just want to tell you everything I know. And so I really want this to be bite-sized and palatable for you to just get the quick word, go apply the challenge and change your life in this week. So if you see me looking, I'm definitely checking my notes. Okay, so just to give you a couple more what to expect. Every day we'll go live 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Like, I gave myself an hour, but my goal is to be around 30 minutes. Today will be longer just because I'm doing, like, we're already 15 minutes in and I haven't even started, right? So today's housekeeping. And then you'll get a challenge. So again, if you don't stay the whole 30 minutes, the whole 45 minutes, sometimes God swoops in and I deliver something that wasn't even on my notes and I don't stop myself. So I'm telling you now that I may say 30 minutes and I may go an hour and 15. We did that in the last challenge. I said it was going to be 10 minutes and it was an hour and 10 minutes, but the ladies were there for every second of it. So if you have to go take your kids to school, go back to work, whatever you're doing, please make sure you watch till the end, because that's where you'll get the challenge, and make sure you're registered so you get the workbook with the challenge in there as well, because the challenge is the most important part, not the most important, but that's where you anchor everything you're learning. Try to set yourself up for success. And I don't like the word try. So be committed to setting yourself up for success. If you're able to get help with your kids, give yourself the gift. I promise you, mom's multitasking is one of the problems. It just is. We rarely give our 100% to anything. We're usually like that octopus woman with 8 arms and 8 legs, and using our mouth to hold things. So try your best, be committed to giving yourself this whole undivided moment to just be present and give yourself this gift, because that's where the breakthrough is going to also come from. So each day, that same time, I will be here on Instagram and Facebook. But again, if you haven't already registered, make sure you go to the link in my bio so you do get the replays, you get the workbook, you get all the goodies. And then mark your calendar for Friday. It's going to start at the same time, but it's going to be a 2-hour workshop. So I'm actually going to deliver a masterclass on healthy communication, because when I surveyed you guys on this challenge coming in, for those of you guys who joined the group, communication came up. So I tally when these are all the things that women said they wanted to work on. And I tally the doubles. So the doubles were communication. So once I get the double, that's how I decide what I do the masterclass on. So the communication came up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. And so everything else was everyone said different things. So that will be Friday. So really you have a week to figure that out, lock down those 2 hours and prepare to come and show up and get this word on how to communicate like a queen. Okay. Lastly, to the housekeeping every day. If you screenshot the challenge, or maybe any aspect of the challenge, and then tag me in let's say your Instagram story or on Facebook, and tag me to share it, what that's doing is it's anchoring it in for you and it's sharing it with other people. If you do that, and it's holding you accountable to be present, to be locked in every day. So every day that you tag me for the challenge, you'll be entered into a raffle. And then I'm going to be giving away some of my affirmation merch, affirmation cards, and an extra $500 off voucher to work with me. So if you've already done her playbook and you're wanting to go into Cloud9, you could possibly win 500 extra off of that. If you've been considering going into her playbook, it would be $500 off for that. So you'll be entered in to win a raffle at the end of the week. And that's how I'll be picking the raffle names, is by screenshotting your screenshots, and then those will go into the pool that we pull from. So it's just a fun way to win something, to say I'm a finisher, I made it all 5 days, and I shared this with other women who could probably benefit. So you could even wait till the live is over. This would be my best recommendation. Share the live so people can click and actually watch it, and then tag me and say anything that resonates for you, you must watch this, or maybe something that stood out for you. But when you anchor what stands out for you, it really does make it stick. So that's all the housekeeping. Okay. So what I'm going to do as we get started, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about myself. We're going to open up in prayer, and then I'm going to deliver today's challenge. So I want to give background, because not everyone knows me. Some of you guys are new to my page, and then some of you may come from other people. And then some of you do know me, and some of you may just know me as that girl Crystal that you went to school with, or that you know through such and such. And so I want to just let you know, I am not a therapist. I am a coach, and I specialize in helping women be their best selves. So it's like life coaching, it's mindset, it's the mental game. 80% of your success in life is your mental capacity. So I help women really tap into, why am I not being consistent with my goals? Why am I not being in the communities that I desire? Why do I not have the connection and communication with my man that I know is possible? And most importantly, why am I not confident? I believe that every one of you are queens. You are made perfectly in God's image. And too many of you guys, I don't care how beautiful you are, how put together, how laid on the outside, too many women are insecure, perishing, and lacking vision for their life, and lacking excitement and self-esteem and love for themselves, and that's going to trickle into your relationship. So I have been doing mindset self-development work for the last 8 years. I've been studying it for the last 10 years. I've been teaching it for the last 8 years. And in the last 3 going on 4 years, I started studying it to another level so that I could teach it really, really effectively. So I went and did some training, some certifications. I did a leadership PhD program. And that was when I birthed my thesis, which is now my signature program, Her Playbook. Mind you, Her Playbook is also a compilation of all the years of my other programs that I've done, matched with what I learned in this leadership program to really have tangible tools that create results. That was what was missing. Was I knew how to teach, I knew how to inspire, but I didn't have the tools to get people to walk that line of transformation. So I started to infuse that and mixed it with all of my wisdom, my own life experience. I have been with my husband for going on 18 years. We've been married for 11. We have 5 daughters. So maintaining a healthy, thriving relationship that's far from perfect, but that still has a will to survive, and that we're still striving to be our best selves with each other. I've compiled all of my wisdom, experience, my tools and knowledge that I've been trained in, and then my past programming, and put them all together. And I birthed Her Playbook. So if you hear me talk about Her Playbook, that's my baby. I will share more about it later this week. So I'll tell you all about it. We will be opening enrollment on Friday. And so you'll have an opportunity to keep going if this challenge really resonates with you. But that's where my training comes from. So that's my credibility, if you will, of who I am and where my authority comes from to teach what I'm teaching. It's backed by experience, and it's backed by real life tools that I've learned through books, through trainings, through people teaching me, certifications, all of that. And lastly, I'm qualified by Christ. And I believe that's the most significant qualification, because I do believe that this is my calling. I believe that all of our paths are here for a reason, to bring other people through what we've gone through, and our gifts are the tools to bring those to life. And so God has gifted me with the gift of teaching and speaking and educating women. I'm a geek for regurgitating what I know and what I learn. And I have a way of breaking it down and delivering it in a way that can be consumed. So that's a little bit about me. And without any further ado, I'm going to say a prayer. I'm going to decrease and increase God, because He is the one who downloaded this challenge. And we are going to jump into day 1. So if you will join me. Heavenly Father, we come to you today in the name of Jesus. And I thank you, God, for every single woman who has registered for this challenge, and every woman who you're going to have pop in through Instagram because they didn't even know that this was happening and they needed it, God. I just ask that you bind up any distractions that the devil may come our way. He's already tried to shut this down so many times, God. You know the ways that he's been working, but we know that the battle is not ours, it's yours, and it's already won, God. And so I just thank you that we're here, that we've arrived, that we are committed. And I just ask that you bind up any distractions in these women's lives, God. I ask that you will have them ask for help if they have kids, that you will let them set it up at work if they're at work, to where they can take an hour break, God, that they will stop driving, pull over, and just take notes and let this sink in, God. I pray that they will fully allow themselves to receive these words each day and let them sink in, God, because I'm believing you for breakthroughs in marriages, God, for breakthroughs in generations, God, for legacy, God, for the women who are looking for a man. I'm believing that they will find hope from this challenge, God, that they will believe that love and monogamy and healthy, thriving relationships do still exist, God. And I just pray that we stop believing the lies of the devil, God, that we will have hope, and that from this challenge, we will not only be inspired and encouraged, God, but that we will be disciplined to put in the work that it's going to require to see the results, God, because I know firsthand how hard it is, God. I teach this stuff and I fall short every single day. So I thank you for your grace and your mercy on our lives, God, for reminding us that we will never be perfect, but we're always perfect in your image, and that we're always enough because you created us and said so, God. I pray that you will open hearts and open minds, that you will decrease me, God. I know I have my notes. I know I've been preparing this for weeks. I've been rehearsing how I'm going to say what I'm going to say and when I'm going to say it, God. But I just pray that you take me out of it and that you use me as a vessel to deliver what you have been preparing for our hearts, God. I thank you in advance for what's already done. We thank you in your name, in Jesus' name, amen. All right. So day one. Okay, here we go. So as this challenge was downloading in my soul, I was really thinking about how am I going to make the remix? Because Love on Top, the original, was so powerful. And it was birthed because I always survey you guys. Like, my method is to create what you guys are needing, wanting, and asking for. And so by surveying, I might pull through my story. I do email surveys. I survey women who come into my programs. And what I was seeing was these common themes of what was lacking, what was missing. And in this time last year, what was showing up was this lack of like the spark and the passion. And then recently after that, I learned that statistically, biologically, by nature, after 18 months, we actually lose that chemistry, that chemical spark that's like, ooh, like you're just all over your partner and you just are like lusting over them and like they're the only thing on your mind, and you start to lose that. And I was sharing this recently where I believe, especially in the league, it can be a little bit like distracting because you still have a lot of novice in those type of relationships. Like some relationships, it's like you get together, you have your house, you have your kids, you have your job, and you kind of go through the motions. But let's just say for those in the league, for example, you're moving around, you're uncertain, you don't know what contract you're going to have, you don't know if your man's going to play, you're like always planning the next game, the next this, the next that. It's like there's so much happening. So I believe that kind of can distract you from the chemical like missingness of the like, you know, the actual biological impact. On top of, there's money involved for most athlete families, and so you're doing more things, you're going on dates, extravagant trips, you're doing all these things. And so my point of sharing all of that was, once I learned that there's nothing wrong with you and or your man and or your relationship if you've lost that spark. However, we do need to learn the tools to dive in and do what we need to do to keep that spark alive, because it must be worked at. And so as I was studying this and I was preparing it, how I spun the remix was like, okay, what blocks have I hit since I taught this last year, and what was in the gap since then? And so everything I'm going to deliver over the next 5 days are maybe things I've taught before. For example, today's thing, I teach this all the time, but today is going to be a different perspective of that because that's just where I'm at. There's always that next cut. And so I'm really excited about that. But I want to just read you guys some of the things that when I was creating the content for this week, these are the things that I was taking into consideration of things that will be impacted because of what you're about to learn. So communication, I already said, was number one. Trust issues, nagging, not being able to let things go, constantly complaining and being irritated by your man, like not letting him affect your mood, having confidence, dealing with your partner's characteristics, just being like, you didn't realize you were unequally yoked, and now you're like, he's this and he's that, and I don't know what to do with him, I'm stuck with him, kind of thing. And so how do you deal with that if you're choosing to stay? I don't know if I said trust already, but trust came up a bunch of times. How to stop going through the phone, what is alignment, how do we stop consistent arguing, how do we get over infidelity, how do I be more vulnerable, we feel like roommates versus lovers, how do we manage the ego, control, how to support one another, I want to learn this so when I am in a relationship, how to give more words of affirmation, respect, being submissive, and overcoming insecurities, practical application of how to be a true Bible Proverbs 31 woman, motherhood, balancing it all, parenting, level up the relationship to keep it evolving and growing, being our happiest, how to be compatible, traditional versus modern values and ways of being a wife, understanding personality, dynamics of power, sex, intimate, like keeping yourself sexy, commitment, self-love, self-acceptance. I already said insecurity, so that one came up several times. Feeling understood, having passion, keeping yourself up, money, healthy arguing, and then balancing it all. So these were, when I surveyed the women coming into this challenge, what you ladies said you wanted. So if you're hearing that list and you're like, yep, you're in the right place. And so how I kind of compile is in each day, I've built in different things that you're going to learn that are going to touch on these different things. The umbrella one is arguing. And so I titled the theme of this challenge, Be the Vibe. Be the vibe. Because if you think of what vibe means in our today's culture, how we use it, it's like, that's a vibe, or I love their vibe, or it like that, I don't like this energy, I'm not feeling it, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be in this relationship, or, you know, whether it's with a friend or a person or a partner, right? So when I was thinking of how do I compile all as much of these things, I'm not going to get to all of them, that's unrealistic, right? But if I could take what are the most important things you could learn this week to tackle as many of these things on this list, I realize it's all about being the vibe. And of course, if you know my way of working and teaching, VIBE stands for what we're going to learn each day. So today is the V. So I want to get some participation. I feed off the chat. Please, like, you know how pastors are like, I'm not preaching good enough today because y'all are quiet. I need an amen. I need that energy. I need to hear from you. If this is resonating, throw the hearts. If this is a word, throw the hearts. If you're feeling it, repeat what I'm saying, type it in. That's going to help your brain resonate with it. I want to hear from you. If this is you, say that's me. Be vulnerable. Don't be afraid to say this is me. And so if you want to guess what the V of vibe stands for, I want you guys to throw that in the chat as I'm setting the context. But being the vibe is also this sense of, okay, after that 18-month period, after that honeymoon stage is over, why are people losing the spark? Why is it that we're coming resentful, that we're not communicating anymore, that we feel like roommates, that we're nagging, we're resentful, we're holding on to everything? And the truth is or not the truth, but the answer is life happens. So things come in and you have now kids, there's the stress of bills. Like I think of when I got with my husband when we were 18, I was 18, he was what, 21, 22. We were babies. All I was thinking about was getting the good, you know what, eating good and traveling good, going to his games, looking cute, and being his prized possession so I didn't get traded in. That's literally all I was thinking about. So I want you to take yourself for a moment back to that moment when you met your partner that you're with today, whether it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 months ago, go back to that moment. And I want you to think about, what were you thinking about? And I love the V's. Thank you. So vulnerability, variety. I want you guys to keep them coming. You haven't said it yet, but vulnerability is absolutely a core element that's needed in these things. And actually it's one of the tools that are going to help bring these things to life. If you don't have vulnerability in a relationship, you're asked out. And so we'll talk about that, especially on Friday. So I love that you guys said that word, variety. I love that. I'm curious, like when I think of variety, I'm like, is that like changing my wigs every day? Like I would love to hear more, but I love variety. So you start throwing it, like when I think of, I got with my husband when I was 18 years old. All I was thinking about was what I was wearing to the party that weekend, what I was wearing to his next game, what he was doing when he was at his away game. I was not thinking about the things that are going to fall into the V. So I'm giving you hints. Okay. So, okay. So if you're on Facebook, we don't have hearts. So just give me an amen or a like, yep, or I don't know, something. Like I need an emoji. I love emojis, but give me something. So, all right, we have the word. It's landed in the chat and it's coming from a former her playbooker. So what I love about this, and I'm gonna share with you guys the word, is that again, so the V is vision. Okay. if you know me, you know I've taught my vision. I've had vision board trainings for the last 8 years of my life. I've always taught vision. I love vision. If you've ever worked with a coach, vision is the number one thing a coach is going to teach you, most likely, usually, because if you don't have vision, you perish, right? But the newfound perspective that you must get from this challenge, that you must take away from this, is if your relationship lacks vision, then your relationship will perish. And so in this last year where my relationship was in this downward turn and I had to look back and say, how did we get there? What contributed to that? One of the things I realized was we lacked vision. And we had recently because we were in that trench, we got help. So I am an advocate of help. This is a form of getting help. We got help and we did this like, it was like a personality quiz. Like if you've ever done the Enneagram, right? So we do the Enneagram and it was crazy, you guys. We've been dating since I was 18. I'm 35. We have been married 11 years. We have 5 children together. We live together. We spent most every day for the last 18 years of our lives together. The things that we learned in this test blew my mind. And one of the things that stood out to me was I had recently had a marriage therapist come in and train in my mastermind. And she said that one of the biggest mistakes people make in a relationship is thinking you know your partner. Like, oh, I've been with him since I was 18 years old. I already know how he's going to respond. I already know him. Like I know him like the back of my hand. She said that is the most dangerous place to be with your partner. It's a beautiful place to be. It's beautiful to know someone that much. But she said the moment you put your partner in a box and you think you know them is the moment you put them in a limiting situation for them and for yourself. You limit how they can show up, because if you've never heard this, this is something that has changed my life. People show up how you see them. People show up how you see them. So if you see your partner, like for me, this was another gap I saw. I saw doing this work when I stepped away from my relationship and I looked at the lack of vision. I saw that I've been seeing my husband as a no good, lying, cheating, man who was being an NFL player in the streets, and he wasn't bad. Like I've been really careful. I want to like not down my husband's name. My husband was never a habitual cheater. He was not like your typical stereotypical athlete, because I think that is a huge stereotype. But he was a male, a young male at that. He was a human. He was 19, 20, 21, 22. Like he had years of baggage that I was going through. I was the one going through his phone, seeing things that I probably didn't need to see because they weren't even grounds to really get as mad as I was. So I don't want to go into that, but I'm giving you that because of that happening early on in my relationship, I didn't realize until 17 years later that the vision of my husband, the way that I was seeing him, the box that I had put him in was, I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if you're going to do that again. I don't know if you're going to repeat the past. I don't know if you can be trusted. And so this box started to build around him. And so that's only one part of it. The bigger part of vision that I believe is lacking, and that this test and doing this kind of work we're going to do this week did for us, because I've infused a lot of the things that have helped me through doing that work, was realizing we did not discuss things that are needing to be discussed in a relationship. We did not discuss how are we going to handle conflict? How do you handle conflict? How are we going to communicate healthy? How are we going to parent? We didn't realize that once we brought children into the world, our different ways of being brought up were going to come in. Well, my mom raised me like this. Well, my mom raised me like that. Well, I learned when I worked with a parenting coach, and then he's like, well, I don't want to raise my kids from a book. And like, we didn't realize that was going to become a major issue. So where we lacked vision, we had no accord, we had no anchor, we had nothing that was bringing us back to be a team. We were individual. It was like two selfish players on a team. Or, like we were playing a tennis match, like I'm gonna hit the ball over there, now I'm gonna hit it, and then we're doing tennis instead of playing like the dual tennis, like where we're a volleyball, like where we're together on the same side of the net. And so that's because of a lack of vision. If you don't have vision in your relationship, how can you play as a team? When we argue in front of our kids, there's no vision. There's no conversation of this is what we're going to do if we disagree in front of our kids. So when you have vision, you're able to find solutions because you're able to identify a goal. When you, and this is why in life, so again, like I said, Larianne was the one who said vision, and I'm like, okay, it came from someone who's worked with me. I harp vision. Vision is one of my 5 steps in my signature framework, but I've never taught vision in relationship. I always teach it for the you. And I've always taught it like, girl, you need to have your own vision. You need to take care of you. And I also realized that that's where I was showing up as a gap in my relationship, because my vision was self-seeking. My vision, and that's love is not self-seeking. If you break down 1 Corinthians, I don't know the exact number, but the love verse, love is patient, love is kind, love is not self-seeking. So my lack of vision for the team was causing me to operate as an individual. And when you operate as an individual, one of you guys said you want to learn how to be more submissive. One of you guys said, I want to learn traditional versus modern. One of you guys said, I want to know how to apply biblical principle to being a wife and a woman. This is one of them. You've got to have vision. It's biblical to have vision, but if you don't have vision, you perish. In a world where Instagram will tell you monogamy doesn't exist, don't submit to a man. Submission is trash. Don't ever submit. You're an independent queen. You are a woman, powerful, independent woman. You don't need a man to tell you what to do. And I started buying into that. I started leaning into that. I never identified as a feminist, but I had started becoming more and more of a feminist. And I don't think feminist is bad. I believe labels are bad. So I think there's feminist views that I get behind. I agree with. I do. But there's a lot of feminist viewpoints that I don't agree with, right? And so I don't like labels because, again, labels put you in a box. So like what I started to realize because of my lack of vision, our lack of knowing each other's vision, what our team vision was, I realized like, oh my God, no wonder we keep crumbling, because we're self-seeking. He's got his business. He's got his goals. His stuff, him, me. And we're operating like this. There's no cohesiveness. There's nothing coming together. So I think I wrote it down because I literally wanted to read you guys some of the other things that I started like really thinking about. Like, we did not talk about any of this stuff. We did not talk about, hold on, I might not need the notes. I'll just read them off of my mental, but I did write them down somewhere. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to spend all my time looking for it, but okay, so I said parenting, money, sex. Did you and your partner talk about what do you like in sex? This is what I like. Or many of us, this is why I did a whole sexuality challenge and a whole segment on sexuality, because I realized I was never taught to talk about sexuality. I was such a prude. I was embarrassed to talk to my own husband about sex. I was embarrassed to talk to my own husband about this is my vision for what pleases me, because I didn't even know what pleased me. So then when I wanted to be curious about that, I was embarrassed, and there was shame around it, and there was all these things. So can you openly talk about sex with your partner? Are you talking about legacy? What do you guys want to leave behind as a couple, as a family name for your kids? Are you talking about, are we putting away money? I just had a conversation yesterday at my daughter's party where a husband and wife were like, we need to start putting money away for our children. No, we don't. We made it just fine without having money put away. They'll figure it out. They need to be going da da da. Two different viewpoints. I mean, when I say parenting, we could just do a whole training on that. Parenting will strip people away if you don't have vision, right? So you guys get the point. The vision has to come at the top, because when you have the vision at the top, now you can start having solutions. So every time you are having arguments, every time you are having disagreements, what happens is, and this is why on Friday, we're going to talk about communicating like a queen, because queens are calm, they're cool, they're collected, they're confident, they're poised. They come to the table. Queens don't stoop down and cuss people out. Queens don't manipulate. Queens just are. They radiate respect. They radiate boundaries. They radiate trust. They radiate, I am who I am, and I'm going to treat you like a human. And this is why I'm the ruler of this kingdom, right? And so we're going to learn about that. But as it relates to vision, you can't get to healthy communication if you don't have vision. And so as I kind of wrap that thought up, when we were in this program and we realized how different we were, when we realized how much we didn't have a common goal and vision, then we got to have a solution. So now we're able to go through all of these categories and we're able to do, and it's been so fun and exciting. And we're just getting started, but it's like, it's been cool to think about like, wow, we're going to date each other again. We're going to get to know each other again, because we're going to talk about things that we never talked about before. The one we're on right now. And I want you to hear this. This is just dropping in, like, don't try to do it all right now. Like you're gonna have to like work on it. You can't go from zero to everything. Sometimes that's what happens. People do challenges like this and you're like, okay, we got to get our finances and our parenting and everything, and you're gonna get overwhelmed. Just start with one thing. What's the biggest issue right now, right? So for us, money was one of them. Like we were like, we need to get on the same page. So we started talking about like we were talking about like I'm the one who does like the finances, and we were talking about needing to save money. And so I would say like, we need to save because we have this amount, these are our bills, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd come home with my nails done, my Botox, my hair chopped off, my hair dyed, this, that. And he's like, I thought we were saving money. I'm like, we are, but these are essentials. Like I need my nails done. I need to keep up my lashes. My hair is off. I need lashes when I wake up. And so it was like, oh, you didn't know that. And so it was like, now we were like, oh, okay, like now we got to communicate. But now instead of it being an argument, because he's like, so you're just going to go get your nails done and da, 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 and he's going to come at me. And then what happens when we argue or communicate is that we put each other on the defense, and we get back in that tennis match where we're like, well, you didn't tell me when you bought that thing on Amazon. Well, I didn't know I needed to, and da, da, da. And now we're playing tennis. And then what happens is you're not even getting to the problem at hand, which is being better stewards of the money, setting vision and goals. You're now on defense of like, who are you to tell me? See, I knew you were a patriarch. I knew you were trying to control me. And now all your Instagram memes that you've been piling up, narcissist, controller, patriarch, whatever, this is me speaking, but like, hope I believe someone can relate. You started collecting this evidence that he's a label of a bad person. He's of this, he's of that. And you're gonna collect the evidence for that. And so when you have the vision, you're able to start to solve the problem. You're able to talk about it. I'm going to take a breather for a second, because I just want to see where I'm at. And I want to make sure that I'm like, as I'm wrapping this up, because I feel myself wrapping up, I just want to make sure there wasn't anything that I really want you to hear about this. Okay, I think I really, so the last thing I'll say about that was going back to the individual visions. You guys might have heard me say this in one of my lives. You might have heard me say this in my email. I sent an email over the weekend because I said, I realized that I may have misled you at some point along the way. And one of the reasons that I said that was because, again, I have I had posted like a poll a week ago, and I asked, what is a good wife? And there was someone who commented, who has worked with me, and they said something along the lines like me, myself, and I. And I was like, wow, like it's interesting, because I felt like I probably taught them, I had contributed to them feeling like that, right? And I don't think it's wrong. I do believe if you lose yourself, you lose everything. We're going to talk about tomorrow something that's really important, so I'm going to not go into that. But what we're going to talk about tomorrow really sets the tone for like about where the me, myself, and I comes in, right? But my point is that where the misleading came in was I had my pendulum too far over on the selfish side. And when you are in a relationship, when you are coexisting, truly becoming one with someone in a marriage, in a union, you have to have vision as a couple. And that me, myself, and I vision has to, so I'm going to kind of speak into the submissive and like the modern. So, I would look at modern wife as like, we have more equal roles and responsibilities versus like the traditional, like you're the wife, you run the home, you do this, you take care of the kids, and I'm the man, I'm the provider. I think that what vision does is there's no cookie cutter answer. right? So yes, you have to have vision for yourself. You have to know. But and I recently had this conversation. I don't know if she's still on, but I realized, oh my God, like I've been operating from this place of like a chip on my shoulder. Like my man was in the league. My man was super successful. My man was like, oh, Jason David, that's Jason David's wife. And it was like, I realized I had vision because I needed to prove myself. And that vision, being really, really independent and being really, really overly driven and like you just pour yourself into work. I've actually learned over the years of doing work that those are trauma responses. Those are just other ways, like busy is buried under the devil's yoke. Like being busy is just a trauma response to not be vulnerable, to not be connected, to not be present. Because over the last 2 years, as I've slowed down and I've started to see this, because I started with God revealing where I was sacrificing my family, grind. I got to work. I got to hit this goal. I got to be successful. And I had a chip on my shoulder. I'll never forget the moment I was in the PhD program that I did. And one of my buddies who was in charge of giving me feedback, she looked at me because I was crying out to the room and I'm like, what's missing? I have it all. I grind my ass off. I work day in, sun up to sundown, and I am not producing fruit. And then my marriage is falling apart. My kids are like feeling neglected. What's happening? And she said, I believe when you understand that you have nothing to prove, that you're already enough, and you serve instead of prove, like you do your business because you're simply serving, not trying to make it to Oprah's book list. Because that's what I was doing. This was like a year and almost 2 years ago. I was like, holy crap, you're right. I wanted to write a book because I wanted to prove to my high school, college friends who I feel like don't support me. I wanted to prove to them that, oh, you don't support me. You think I'm just this little cute Instagram girl growing a cute little business. Well, watch when you see me on Oprah's like book list. If that's the motivation behind my book, that's why the book hasn't come out yet. Because God was like, no, I'm not giving you the platform if you're trying to prove yourself. And so like, I really wanted to speak that to everyone who I've ever taught before, because I promised during this week, I'm going to reshare the perspective that has been peeled back for me in the last 6 months when I cried out to God, like, why am I in this steep again in my relationship? What's missing? And this is something that I want you to take from this challenge. I want you to take this from this challenge. And I'm going to wrap this up here, and then I'm going to give you today's challenge and we're going to call it a day. But I want you to take from this challenge, pray the prayer often, if not every day. I pray this every single day. God, show me where you want to use me and show me where I'm in the way. That is a prayer that I pray every day, like clockwork. And what that prayer means to me is, God, constantly show me what matters. Because I know for a fact God didn't call us, because you guys will hear me say, I'm the first to admit that I'm that girl who's like, you were not born to just be a wife. You were not born to just be a mother. Don't hide behind your kids. Don't hide behind your family. You have a purpose out there. You need to go work. You need to do what God called you to do. And what I realized was, God is calling us to serve our home first. If he has gifted you with a husband and children, your home is your first ministry. Crystal, if your home is falling apart, I don't care if you save 100 million, billion, gazillion women outside of your home. If your daughters turn around and need your program more than any other woman on the planet, you are failing. If you need your program more than the women taking it, you're failing. And so God showed me where I was out of alignment because my vision was too skewed on the self-seeking side. I was trying to prove myself. I was trying to validate myself. I was trying to be important. One of my triggers when my husband was in the league was women who had businesses. So the real estate agent who sold his house, the event planner who planned events, the PR girl who worked for him and got him like gigs and stuff, the front office girls. I was so jealous of them because I felt like they were doing it. They were boss bitches. And I was just a mom. I was just a college grad who didn't do anything. And all these years I've felt like, and I woke up to this when I was sacrificing my kids. So about 3 years ago now, I woke up and I hired 2 parent coaches, and I'm like, fix it, Jesus, because I was so self-consumed with being successful that I was like, mommy's on the phone. Shh, 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 gotta work, gotta work, gotta work. No boundaries whatsoever. And that was a ripple effect. There's the tangible challenge of today is we're going to go into it in a moment, but it's visual, right? And I used to think, as long as I give good head and I wear cute lingerie and I keep my toes manicured and the gunk on my heels clean, I'm gonna be good. And it doesn't matter. My husband was losing respect for me by the minute, watching me neglect my children, watching me neglect my home, letting my home get out of order so that I could be successful. And here I am trying to prove that I'm enough for my man who's looking at me like, what are you doing? I didn't choose you to be my wife. And then I let the worldly views, the worldly vision get into my psyche. And now I became this radical, I will not be controlled by a man. A man is not going to control me. You will not tell me what to do. And then I rebelled even further. And I believe that God has downloaded in me to be the bridge. He's like, I want the middle ground. Yes, I still don't believe that we're just supposed to be moms and wives. I still believe that there's something in you that God is calling you to do. But that something doesn't mean you have to go grind and start a business. That something doesn't mean that you have to hustle and be independent woman. That thing might be that you have space enough in your calendar to be available when your friends need you to answer their calls. That calling, that purpose that we're all looking for, I believe purpose is showing up every day and being the best version of yourself. So when I say me, myself, and I want you to hear that I mean take care of yourself. Find your triggers. Find your childhood trauma that's causing you to numb out, that's causing you to push away a good thing, that's causing you to not feel like you're worthy of having a good man. That was another one of my traumas. I realized I was pushing away my husband because my childhood trauma said, men leave you. You're not worthy of a man. Your own father didn't stay. You don't deserve this. So when I had a man who was there, taking care of me, paying my bills, loving on me, treating me like a queen, like his prized possession, taking care of our kids, raising our children, I was looking for sabotage because my subconscious brain, which we're going to learn more about this if you go into her playbook and you do more work or otherwise go do the work somewhere. If it's not in my community, go do the work on your childhood trauma because your subconscious brain is running your show until you become aware of it, until you become aware of why you get triggered and why you project. Like, I'll give this example and then I promise I'll wrap it up. Like one woman can hear something and be triggered and another woman could not even hear it because that's our childhood, that's our autopilot, that's our belief system happening, right? So to wrap it all up and tie it all with a bow and then give you today's challenge, my point is that you, yes, got to have vision for yourself, vision to love yourself, take care of yourself, respect yourself, honor yourself, because no man can give you love that you're not giving yourself. You will, like, one of the things that were written down and what you wanted from this challenge was how to be happier. You've got to be happy. You've got to release the expectation for your man to make you happy. If you're constantly mad because he didn't do this and he doesn't ever do that right and he this and he that, you've got work to do on you, sis, right? But I want you to be careful not to take that vision so far left, so far off the alignment factor that you start to sacrifice your first ministry, which is your family. So if you've been called to be a wife and to be a mother, it is a good thing. And it is a role. It is a responsibility. And that was one thing actually that I didn't touch on when I said vision was roles and responsibilities. So that's a great segue into today's challenge. So today's challenge, again, if you are joining in later, and you didn't hear me say this, you want to register with the link in my bio to get access to the sorry, I'm just pulling that. You want to get access to the workbook, because the workbook is where you're going to find the daily challenges if you're visual like me. So the workbook will have, it will have like each challenge. But today's challenge, what you're going to do is there's journal prompts. And these journal prompts are going to give you a taste of how I was exposed to, whoa, me and my husband have no clear vision together as a couple. And so you're going to go through these prompts. You're going to be tempted to do them with your man. I'm not going to say don't, but I really would recommend this week, focus on you and you do the journal prompts. Keep getting the word, because I want you to build on every day. We're only on V of vibe. We're only on the V of vibe, right? We're gonna break down VIBE, and then we're gonna end Friday with a 2-hour masterclass. So my recommendation is do this. My recommendation is do this yourself and then go back with your man and do it with him later. But let this week just be all about you soaking all this in. So you're going to answer these journal prompts and you're just going to start writing things out and marinate on them. Don't overwhelm yourself with like, I have to get every answer, every vision. Just start to think about it. You should be doing this with your partner periodically. You should be doing this quarterly, yearly, all the time. I realize we never did it, and we've been together for almost 18 years. So I know I'm not the only one. So go do the journal prompts. And then so each day you're going to have a challenge that's going to be related to the lesson of the day, and then one that's more tangible. So one of the things I loved about the Love on Top challenge was we did like things like, things that you're actually doing with and for your man. So we're also going to have that challenge. So the V of the tangible side is to get dressed up. Men are visual creatures. I am an advocate of keeping yourself up. If you are not keeping yourself up, there's usually something going on. You're usually got depression, anxiety, you're like low vibration, low energy, low self-esteem, low confidence. There's something inside of you that doesn't feel good about yourself. Or a big one, which is for many of us moms, you're just freaking busy. You don't have time to get up and shower. It's not your first luxury to be able to get dressed and do your own self, which is why I'm an advocate of things like lashes and microblading and whatever. I do not believe you need lashes, microblading, nails, external anything to keep a man happy. I don't believe those things keep men happy, because here's the thing. There's women a dime a dozen. And more so now than ever with surgery and with all the enhancements that are out there. So visual is not going to keep your man, but it definitely is important. It definitely is a treat for your man to see that you're still caring. And I'm going to end that point with this. Tell me I'm not lying when I say, when someone you follow on social media is single, or when you find out they're single, because who's been in a relationship, you're like, I knew something was different, because sis is showing up, got the girls out a little bit more, got more makeup on, moving different, hitting them angles. She's dressing up more. It's just like this thing. And I honestly think for many women, not all, many women, it's a thing of like, you're going to see what you missed out on. You're going to see me. I'm going to make you wish you had me. Keep that same energy. I want you guys today, your challenge starting today, and you're going to carry it through the week and maybe through life if you choose to adopt. Keep that same energy. Do what you did to get your man. I just don't think it's a valid excuse to say, well, my kids. No, put baby girl, baby boy in a bouncer. They will be okay. This is where my selfishness has served me well, because there's all about like balance. I am not the mom that's like, well, the baby cries if I shower. You're going to have to cry because mommy is going to smell good when daddy gets home. I actually don't even shower that much anymore, but it's not because of my kids. It's because of choice, right? But like, get in the shower. Do something to feel good about yourself. Show your man you still care to try for him, to look good for him, because why is it that we automatically turn that on when we don't have that man anymore, or when we're trying to get another man? No. Stop that. And you may not agree with me. There's always going to be a sis who's like, if he doesn't love me with a ponytail and no makeup on, then he doesn't deserve me. Bet. My husband sees me more often with no ponytail, but no makeup on, and he loves me. You're right. But he will appreciate the trying. He will appreciate you putting forth the effort. So go put the effort. So your challenge is to do the journal prompts, go start your vision. But but also you're going to get dressed today and tomorrow and the next day, and you're going to look good. And if your man is still at camp or he's not home, you're going to selfie him, you're going to FaceTime him, and you're going to let him see you, boo. You're going to do a selfie and you're going to tag him. Whatever you're going to do, I don't know. So that is concluding of day 1. Again, go sign up so you get it, because it's going to be in the Facebook group and it's also in your email if you want the visual workbook to see the challenge. Do the journal prompts, do the challenge, come back ready for day 2. The heat just keeps getting hotter every day of the week. And remember, if you want to get put into, even if you don't want to raffle, some of you guys, I was always the girl that was like, I'm not going to win anyways. I'm not doing that. I don't really like participating in raffles. So I normally don't do them, but I see people, I know my coach does them. So I'm like, let me be coachable. So I'm doing a raffle to incentivize you to share this and to stay until the end every day till Friday. But just do it out of the goodness of your heart. Someone could be blessed by this live. So if you were blessed, if any 1 minute or section of this live blessed you or resonated with you, I want you to, when it posts to my page, I want you to share it to your story and say, I'm doing a 5-day challenge. Go check it out. The link is in her bio. If you have swipe up, go do the extra step, get the link, put it in your thing, have people swipe up. Don't be stingy with the word. This is not crystal. This was downloaded. God has been downloading what I'm teaching this week for over a month. He has been bringing me through the trenches for over 6 months. And what's coming out on the other side, the breakthroughs that are coming through, I know for a fact women need this. So I'm asking you to share. Be a vessel just like I am. It's free to share. It's not going to mess up your page that much. So post it to your story. Say, hey guys, I'm participating in this 5-day challenge. This was day 1. Post day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5. Share it. Be a blessing to someone else. You never know who needs to hear this, but I'm believing that this gets to reach the women who need to hear it. I know I needed to hear this. I needed to see that my relationship lacked vision. I needed to see that me and my husband needed to play as a team. I was not playing as his teammate. And one of the biggest pieces of relationship advice I've ever gotten was always, always, always remember it's you and him against the enemy, not you against him. So I want you to remember that tennis match analogy. Do not play tennis with your man unless you're on his side of the court. Play team volleyball. You got to be on his team. You've got to be his helpmate. And I was not good at that. I realized that was one of my gaps. When I prayed that prayer, this is why God took me through the breakdowns, and then he showed me what caused them. And one of them was lack of vision. And I believe that this is universal. I believe that many people jump into relationships because they just feel that first fling, that feeling, and they forget to talk about politics and religion and parenting and all the things, money and all the things that come into vision. So please start to play as a team with your man. Start to operate as his helpmate. I was missing that. I was like, I'm gonna do me, you do you. I'll meet you in bed tonight. If we have sex, we're having a good day, and we're gonna do it again tomorrow. That is not a team. That is not a healthy team. You've got to have that vision. Have vision of what vacations you guys want to go on. Have visions of how you want to improve your sex life. Have visions and goals of what are you saving money for? What are you investing in? Do things together. It will bring that passion, that spark back, because you'll have something to look forward to. You'll have something to celebrate. You'll have something new. You'll have a challenge. If you're not growing and learning and evolving, you're dead. And relationships are dead because there's no vision. You're just in the mundane. Well, did you get the kids? Can you get them? Can you take them to practice? What's for dinner? What's for dinner? I was with the kids all day. You're going to come home. And this is what we do. Instead of having vision that like one of the questions in this workbook, I know I'm rapping, but now God's speaking. I'm going to wrap it after I say this. one of the questions is, what is the expectation? Or actually, I don't even think it's today. I think it's tomorrow's homework. But one of the questions you're going to answer throughout this week is, what are your expectations? Yeah, I'm going into tomorrow. See, I got to go. Okay, thank you, Jesus. We'll be back tomorrow. And I'm going to go into that because that's a whole, I'm like, wait, I didn't even talk about that, but it's because it's tomorrow. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So God bless you. Share this if it blessed you. We will be back same time tomorrow. The link is in my bio, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
You reached Jason David.
Yeah, so like I was definitely skeptical in moments where I was like, I was like, he's just trying to get my money, because he was like, God's telling me to sow a big seed. And I'm like, okay, after I told you my husband was to play in the NFL bet. Like, it was things like that, right? But when I was talking to my friend Asia, who was the one who recommended me, and she recommended because she was doing it, and he said at the end, there's a light skinned friend you've been talking to a lot. Tell her God wants me to talk to her. And she was like, oh my God, friend, I knew it was you because we've been talking every day with everything you're going through. Da, 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 da. So even that, I was like, every Black girl has a light skinned friend, stop it, you know? But it was like, there was skepticism there for sure. But at the same time, there was like, he hit on so many things that I believe that it was God and it was what I needed, even if he is kind of like, whatever. But like, cause Jason was like, I'm in the wrong profession. I can charge you to tell you this and that. And I'm like, okay, but I can't get mad if he's charging, right? Like he gets to make money. It's just like pastors, like they're doing it for God, but they still have to make money to pay bills. And so like, I just had to separate my skepticism to like, it's okay that he's making money. It's okay that he's saying, like I imagine he always has like a prophetic word of you need to tell someone, because he was like, tell three people about this. And I was like, I'm not telling anybody unless they fall in my heart to tell. And that was why I told you, because you texted me like, I don't know if I told you or if it was just that we were checking on each other. And then I'm like, oh my God, like I wonder if you getting a word from this guy would be beneficial. Because for me, it was like I needed it just in time, because I was so like, God, what do you want me to do? I need you to show me. And then he told me, you need to stay. Your marriage is a good thing. So to me, it was like, it may be like a built-in marketing thing, but I do built-in marketing things. Like I just did my challenge today, and I was like, I don't know, like there's things like I'll say, like I want people to register so they get the workbook so it benefits them, right? But I also want them to register because I want their email address so I can keep emailing them and sell to them. So it's still strategy, but it's value, right? So I just had to separate my skeptical brain, and I agree 1000%. That was what I was on a tangent. Like, why was I telling this? He said, I would love to be your prophet. Like, in other words, like where I talk to him often and he gives me a word, and that didn't sit well with my spirit, because that made me feel like I would be depending on him to tell me things. And then I would, like you said, it would take away me having to trust God with the word, so I agree.